Get started. Hello and welcome. We're going to kick off this session here called Telco to Techco. The name is to suggest that Telco wasn't that innovative, but and if you thought it was innovative, you haven't seen nothing yet. This is we're on the cusp of incredible innovation with all the new technologies we're seeing. So my name is Dave Michels. I am the principal analyst at Talking Points with a Z. And I've got a fantastic panel here that I'll be moderating. And we'll just do, actually we'll introduce you the first time you speak. We'll keep this a little more going here. So I'm gonna direct the first question to Mike here at the end. And Mike, so before you answer my question, a brief introduction if you don't mind. So Mike, we've seen a lot of changes in the past. You know, we've been watching this industry for a while, Mike. We've seen all these companies pop up. We've seen all these over-the-top players competing with carriers and all these changes. So what's wrong with that? Why don't we just use over-the-top carriers? Why are we talking about carriers?
Yeah, thanks, Dave. Mike Brandenburg. I'm a senior industry analyst at Frost & Sullivan, part of our connected work team. We cover kind of as Dave alluded to, we've been covering the enterprise communication space for quite a long time. My focus areas have been CPaaS, programmable communications, and telco services. And, you know, I think the reason we have the over-the-top players in the market is there's a history of telco providers really just saying no, or saying we want to sell these services to you in this specific way. And that model doesn't work anymore. As things become more digitized and more agile, you know, the demands of the customer are changing. And 10 years ago, when CPaaS emerged as a great example of this, giving access to APIs and things like that were just not something that the carriers did. And, you know, that's why you saw the emergence of the over-the-top players. And yet, you know, there's still that inherent trust in your key service providers and telco partners and, you know, reams of enterprise contracts that could be leveraged in a new way. So I think that reliability, that trust, has always been agreed to the telcos. They just didn't have the right service match, you know, and that's evolving.
So they addressed a gap in the carriers of like filling that gap. Now the demand is maturing. Is that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think there's I don't want to say one throat to choke, but you know, like, you know, one glass of champagne, you know, to share around it. I'm blowing that analogy, but no, I think it's a struggle to, you know, manage one provider or a handful of providers to like double that to fill those gaps is a challenge, and you lose economies of scale and things like that. That's why there's a really big push from customers to, you know, get these capabilities from their existing providers.
Okay. So I don't know about you, but when I think of a carrier, I think of backhoes, lots of copper, fiber, boring stuff. But then I went to an event in Dubai, a GITEX conference, and there was a booth there called Intelsat and EN, which is my question, but hold on a second, that didn't have a backhoe in it. And it was amazing. It had you've never seen anything like this. Robots, flying drones that carry people. It was absolutely amazing. A huge booth, absolutely the star of a giant conference. And so Madhavi here, my question to you is, what is your company? Is Intelsat, EN, what is going on here? And is it a carrier, or what do you call it?
Yeah, thanks for the question. So let me just quickly introduce myself. I'm Madhavi Gupta from Etisalat by EN. So Etisalat has been traditionally a telecom operator. We've been operating in 14 regions within the Middle East, and now recently we have done partnership, or we have actually funded 40-41% in Vodafone. So we are expanding in Europe and Africa as well through Vodafone. So it's been a very big journey, and Etisalat has been growing really fast. UAE has been their major market. There are core telecom providers who provide voice, SMS, and data services like any other telecom providers. And recently, 2 years ago actually, they rebranded themselves as and I'll be talking about how they rebranded themselves. So it's difficult, as Mike mentioned, that telco mindset has been there, where it is more about providing connectivities, SMS, email, SMS, voice and data. However, what Etisalat has done different here is that we understood the market shift. The need of businesses have been changing. They are more working towards advanced use cases where they need the solutions that are around network security, digital transformation and communication. And this is what we saw and we understood. So what Etisalat did is that they made an arm within their organization which is called Enterprise, so which is focused on B2B solutions, and it can empower all the enterprises and businesses with the digital transformation needs.
Let me just ask, when you talk about Enterprises, is this strictly UAE, or what countries, what regions do you serve?
So we are serving most of the Middle East, 14 regions, including 2 or 3 regions in APAC as well. However, Enterprise, the way that we are expanding, first we are starting our pilot, I would say, in UAE, and then we'll be going to KSA. This year, KSA, Saudi will be our focus areas. It is one of our growing market. And then we'll expand in Morocco, Egypt, Pakistan, and other regions where we operate from. So, but Enterprise is the digital arm where we focus on enterprises, and Etisalat is our telco arm where it is major focus is on the consumer. And all these Etisalat and Enterprise fall under the mother as and group company. Yeah, so that's how it is.
Very good. So now my first question for you, now we've got all that out of the way, my first question for you really is, what kind of shifts, and Mike, you might want to chime in on this too, but what kind of shifts are you seeing in demand from your enterprise customers?
Okay, let me answer that. So enterprise customers, initially the way that our engagement with enterprise customer was pure traditional connectivities. But what we have seen in last, a decade or 5 to 7 years, where there is a wave of digital transformation, there's a lot of mandates, especially from UAE perspective, from government to digitalize their operations processes for enhancing the customer experience. So when we understood this shift is happening, we as Telco became a Techco company, which I mentioned Enterprise, and we started offering CPaaS solutions. Now, coming from a telco, evolving from a telco to Techco, the way that we accelerated in this space was through the power of partnerships. And we did not decide to develop it ourselves and, starting from rock bottom, but we partnered with some of the, major leaders in the CPaaS like Twilios, Vantage and Infobip, and we created a joint value proposition on how these solutions can be taken to the market. Now, coming from the use cases perspective, from pure SMS and voice channels, the way that the market has been evolving in terms of use cases, we see a lot of WhatsApp communication or conversations that can happen. There is verifications and CDP layers that are being requested. There are, number masking use cases that we have seen evolving. And omni-channel contact center is another one that we see are coming. So these are key areas and the use cases which we have seen as a shift from just pure basic connectivity to much more advanced use cases across the different channels.
Now, Mike, you cover this more from a global perspective, and I'm curious how that response resonates with your reaction. And if you could be so kind as to explain to our American audience what WhatsApp is. But go ahead, yeah.
I was actually ready for that. I think it builds on that. Like, anyone who's lived through the past 4 years saw that shift to digitalization. When you couldn't actually get into a brick and mortar store, or you could, it was scary to go to a restaurant, so you dial up for delivery, or last 4 years like accelerated what was already happening in this exactly to digitalization of reach the customers where they are at, get very app, even if you weren't traditionally app based, think of your favorite big box store now has curbside pickup as a permanent feature. All of that takes basically access to the APIs and doing it in-app services. Even look at the old diehards we used to talk to, like somebody like an Uber has switched from SMS into like in-app messaging and notifications, and now the live view when you if you have a new phone. And then there's also where it becomes different. It becomes like has to be tailored. Is you can't just be SMS globally. Yeah. It doesn't work because us silly Americans. The only people that have WhatsApp are those that have international friends as the way to communicate. Like I don't talk to anyone U.S. on WhatsApp, and that's a very American thing. Where in APAC and other regions, that is the dominant message platform. So now you're seeing brands build on that as a primary communications channel, versus calling or
Yeah. Okay, so. I want to get to Matt here because I talked about the old carrier. Now we're talking about the new carriers, and you might have the impression from the new carrier conversation that it's used to be you ordered something and you were done. Now you have to build it. You got APIs, you got all this stress, you got to build everything yourself, but not necessarily. Some carriers actually offer applications. I think the technical term is applications as a service. So we've got Matt here. So why don't you introduce yourself, Matt, and talk about your application?
Sure. So Matt McKernan, Senior Vice President of Americas for Content Guru. So we are a CCaaS provider, so contact center as a service, basically a cloud-based contact center. So the typical, you call into a contact center, you get an agent, you get routed. Might be recorded for quality assurance. We've all had that. We started actually one of the first. We've been around for over 20 years. One of the first things we handled for companies was like the American Idol version, the British version of American Idol. We're a UK-based company, but we're global, and we handle all those phone calls for the American Idol in Britain. And so you think about that challenge going from, at 6 p.m. there's no phone calls, and then 8 p.m. there's 3 million phone calls. So telcos have become techcos, right? We focus on contact center and we focus on customer experience, which seems kind of, what does telco have to do with that? Voice channel is still the dominant channel that people interact with, right? There's still digitals out there, but voice is still very much the primary method. So how you get voice routed and voice properly routed to the right agent with proper wrap-up, it is very much a combination of telco capabilities and software applications to deliver a better customer experience. And they're getting closer and closer. We provide a UC solution now, but you'll see a lot of providers that even that, UC used to be very separate from CCaaS, and now they're very much, like this shows you that we're all here together. There's not a Cisco over there and a NICE over there. We're all in the same show because these things are converging. So how you ingress a voice call is important as how you route that call to the proper agent to deliver a very exceptional customer experience.
And I want to give you a little credit there because you mentioned Cisco, you mentioned NICE, I think it was. But Content Guru is one of the giants in the industry, particularly internationally, particularly in Europe. And it's just what they're seeing in the volumes is actually very significant and tremendous. So the second question for you, Matt, is companies can buy your service from you. What is the why just leave it at that? Just, you're done. Why are you talking to carriers?
Because the connection between the carrier and our platform is very critical. So we approach the market with a bring your own carrier ideal. So if you're in a contract with whoever, EM, and you can bring that carrier to us, we'll make sure the connections happen. Our platform operates at a 5 nines reliability. We deliver 100%, but we guarantee 5 nines. And it's like, it's kind of putting telco throughout the whole life cycle, because one of the first rules of telco was like, no jitter, call go through, no drop, and that extends through to the customer experience when that consumer is on the line with an agent. To this day, jitter is still one of the biggest issues of why an agent complains about, it's tough to do my job, or it's tough to deliver exceptional customer experience. The quality of that voice is still uber critical. So we've come a long way, right? We look around and there's a lot of amazing technologies here, but at the end of the day, it's about getting a high quality voice call through into the enterprise, routed properly to the right agent, and wrapping that call up. And so they're converging, whether it was the old-fashioned stuff or SIP trunks or however you're getting your calls through. I think the market recognizes you can't deliver an excellent experience unless you tie it all together. So even though we're a software provider, we have to make it our business to understand telco.
I need more evidence. This sounds all theoretical to me. I want an example. Who's going to give me an example? Madhavi?
Let me just add to this. So, see, telco plays an important role. Why? Because telco, being the local providers in any region, they come with a reassurance and the understanding of local compliance and regulations. They come with the knowledge of data regime that needs to be followed in a particular country. So there's a lot of reassurance, and in a lot of countries this is very important in terms of governance of the data, security, safeguarding enterprise customers' data is very, very important. And all of this reassurance comes along with the telco. Apart from what Matt mentions in terms of connectivity, quality of connectivity, these are the things that that is important for enterprise customers. So piggybanking on this together with your CPaaS providers or CCaaS providers makes a amazing value proposition to go to the enterprises. And this is the same thing that we are doing. So we have a telco reassurance with our enterprise customers. We take our partnership platform with the best of the breed, and then we piggybank together and go to the market offering the CPaaS. So we can ride on this wave of digital transformation together. If we keep it just telco, I guess it will be difficult. I mean, we'll have to still use some, market leaders and providers in this space.
A little hand-holding and guidance.
So what we are saying is that technology partners, so not little hand-holding, they'll be our partners in terms of providing services. So we bring the expertise of the region, our reach to the customers, our customization, our local local intelligence in terms of compliances and regulation, and we get the partner to get the technology together. So it's a boat with two of us riding together and going to the market.
Okay.
Yeah.
Matt, you've been most SaaS providers start off selling direct, and then they move into indirect channels with carriers and stuff. So what are you seeing? What are you hearing back from your customers about this evolution about working through the carriers?
Yeah, we've worked, a big part of our community, our partner community that we work with, and these are partners who are consultants to large enterprises on their telephony and networking and contact center practices. Many of them actually started out as like telco resellers. And so they were born out of the telco industry, and because the contact center has been so dependent on a strong voice channel, they found themselves kind of morphing into technology advisors, where they used to strictly be telco advisors. Now they're having to understand applications and advanced applications. So they've been good about it. There's, some are better than others, where some have made a very concerted effort to say, we are moving from a telco to applications, and we have to find the right partners, because telcos aren't necessarily the best people to build contact center software, and vice versa. We're not the best to deliver long haul circuits or anything like that. We're best at contact center software. So there is a very close partnership. In some elements, like almost by accident, that's just the way it happened, because that was the main way that interactions happened in the call center.
Mike, you and I have been coming to this show for a long, long time. I'm sure you remember, like I do, Avaya had the banner, then Cisco had the banner in the atrium. We've had Nortel had a giant booth. We've seen, a lot of companies that are come and go. A lot of companies have gone. Let's just say that. A lot of companies have gone. The banner now is bandwidth.com. We've got a CPaaS Alliance on the floor. We've got a panel like this going on here. What's going on and where are we heading to, Mike?
Yeah, I think kind of going to a lot of what they said, there's a peanut butter and jelly moment, I think, happening. You have traditional telco that's very static services. They're not historically known as fast moving. And then you look at the other side of the show, and it's all software. It's agile development. It's move fast and break things to a degree. Can't break it too hard. But I think it's the combination of that. It's this fundamental, rock solid, core platform that is the telco, network, and they get the best benefits by partnering and with enablers on top, on the application layer to build really compelling services together for customers. And I think, you have demand coming in for all this cool, crazy stuff. You have software folks that are leading it hard to AI and the next big thing all the time. But you still, as you said, you need that solid, reliable foundation. And together, all you really got to do is add an API layer to those fundamental, core services, and everything opens up.
I want to open up to all of you about the future. Let's go forward. One more year. What's going to change? Where are we going in the near term? Matt, you want to take a shot?
Sure. Well, I'm not allowed to be on a panel unless I say AI, so I said it, and I won't say any more about it. It's really about automating the process. In my business, it's about customer experience. So how can we use these technologies to actually improve customer experience? Kind of an overused term. And where we focus with our customers, which are generally large Fortune 1000 global companies, is what can we do today? Because so much of this technology, we mentioned, there's banners that aren't here anymore. There's some new ones that we've never seen before, maybe ours included. And so it will continue to evolve, but when you think of AI, it's really about automation and using technology to remove the mundane tasks. But it comes down to the consumer base out there has gotten broader and much more diverse, both in age and other demographics. So there always will be a persistent voice channel. There'll always be a persistent digital channel. And everything else that gets added is just that. It's additive. It's not replacing something. Maybe somewhere in the far future, voice will only be 10% of the equation. But for the foreseeable future, it's how can I take action with the technologies that are available today. Oftentimes these have actually been available for some time, and they just haven't been properly utilized. So what's needed, I think, is already in front of us. Like, we don't need something else to be invented to improve our systems or our customer experience.
All right. Coming again from the telco perspective, there are a lot of OTT players and there are CPaaS and CCaaS players. It's important for telcos to keep evolving themselves just from a connectivity provider to a service provider or a CCaaS or a CPaaS provider. So for us, what we see as three main changes that we see and we'll be working on is, first of all, to stay relevant with the business community. How do we stay relevant is that we don't stop our innovation to CPaaS. the way that our vision is that we want to become the biggest CX consultants in the region, where we not just provide them CPaaS or CCaaS, we actually create their CX journey and the strategy for the customer and the implement and execution of the complete CX strategy, which includes from customer onboarding, promotion, awareness, purchase, and the fulfillment, finally care and loyalty as well. So we want to become the regional biggest CX consultant in the region. That's one that we see in the near future for ourselves. Secondly, this silent network authentication APIs that has been coming in, where opcos play a very big role. So how do we how do we increase the customer experience by having all these authentications done at the network level? We as operators are sitting on a gold mine of customer information, which is close to very, very accurate. No other enterprise can have such an accurate information. So how we can leverage that information to provide better experience to our customers is the second, like I said, silent network authentication kind of APIs is something that we'll be looking forward to. Third, this is something that is coming up. It has been there for a while, like RCS, but nobody has been able to monetize it further. Google has done something, and we are waiting for Apple announcement this year how their strategy would be on RCS. But RCS again is dependent on telco, and it can open new opportunities of monetization within the regions wherever the opcos want to go ahead with. So these are the three areas we see the future would be, at least for next 1 to 2 years.
I get the first word and the last word. Wow. I think you touched on it. What I'm expecting to see next year here is a lot of talk about network APIs. The seeds have been sown of working with Kamara and the Open Gateway projects, and I know the CPaaS Acceleration Alliance have been a big part of that as well, of really driving for the trust and the verification of the inbound calls, as well as outbound business calls that we might actually start answering the phone again. Because that the brand is calling you, and they're going to give you the logo, and you're going to verify that that's actually them and not a robocaller. So I think that the network APIs that have been announced and is a really good first start, and I think it will snowball from there.
All right. Well, with that, I'm going to wrap up this panel. I just want to sing a song I wrote about SMS and messaging there's not enough time. Oh, okay. So with that, I think we'll just go ahead and thank our panel very much. Appreciate the wisdom and insights. Michael, Madhavi, and Matt. Sorry. Oh my gosh. My name is Dave Michels. Thank you very much.